Involved shooting right outside the El Cajon Police Department. Coming up, why officers opened fire on the suspect.
Several schools around the county closed for a second day in a row because of SDG&E's power shutoffs, and frustration is growing.
Most dangerous, craziest looking fire I ever saw in my life.
Crews try to contain a wind-driven wildfire that's forced thousands of evacuations in Malibu.
If you have an inkling you might need a new appliance in the coming year, you might want to get it right now. We'll explain why manufacturers are already saying they're going to raise prices in the new year.
Don't know why yet we're so low this year.
The new proposal amid concerns over the dwindling population of the monarch butterfly. CBS 8 News live at 6 starts right now.
We begin tonight with a story we've been following all afternoon. A woman is dead after being shot by El Cajon police officers after they say she hit them with her pickup truck. Good evening, and I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. The shooting happened just before 1 o'clock this afternoon outside El Cajon Police Department headquarters. Tonight, CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes is standing by with what witnesses are saying.
But we begin tonight with CBS 8's Shannon Handy with more on what we know about what led up to this shooting. Shannon.
Carlo and Marcella, San Diego Police has taken over this investigation, which, as you can see, is still well underway. We're told that 2 El Cajon police officers were standing in uniform outside police headquarters planning a retirement party for one of their captains. They were on the sidewalk coordinating part of that party, which was going to take place outside. At the same time, a woman in a black pickup truck was parked facing the building. She backed out of her spot, appearing as though she was leaving. SDPD Acting Lieutenant Jonathan Dungan described what happened next.
Instead, the truck pointed towards the officers and then stopped for a moment. And the officers appeared to recognize, this is all from a video that we have from surveillance video. Officers, the sergeant and the lieutenant appeared to recognize that the truck was doing something strange. And then out of nowhere, the truck veered directly towards the officers. The officers tried to get out of the way, but the truck turned quickly and actually struck the sergeant, throwing him into the air. At that point, the lieutenant was calling for additional officers for help and was trying to get away from the truck as well as the sergeant was on the ground. The truck reversed again and drove towards the officers. Another officer had responded to that call for help and was in front of the truck trying to get to the sergeant when the truck accelerated forward again.
And that's when the sergeant who was hit, as well as one of the responding officers, opened fire. The driver, a woman in her 20s, was hit. She was taken to the hospital where she died. As for the sergeant who was hit, he was also taken to the hospital with what was believed to be a broken bone. Doctors determined it was not broken. They thought his arm was broken, so they released him. Right now, we don't know the woman's motive, and it doesn't appear as though she was inside the police department prior to the incident. The truck is registered to a couple in La Mesa, but police are not releasing the woman's name. As for where this all happened, Acting Lieutenant Dungan says it's frightening for all involved.
This is a scary event. Those officers were standing in front of their station, not taking any enforcement action, not trying to contact anyone. They were preparing for a retirement ceremony. This was a very scary event for those officers that were involved, and the sergeant and the lieutenant were involved. And it's a tragedy that this happened. It's going to be investigated thoroughly and make sure that everything was done accordingly.
And when this happened, there were a lot of people who actually saw the shooting, who witnessed the aftermath as well. For that part of the story, we turn now to Kirsten Holmes. Kirsten?
Yeah, that's right, Shannon. Again, it has been a really scary afternoon here outside of the El Cajon Police Department. I'm going to step out of the way so that you can get a perspective of the suspect's car that is still here, riddled with bullet holes as it still sits outside of the police station. You can see that they drove right up over a ramp onto the sidewalk, right toward the front door. Here's some video from above of the scene. Again, this is here at the El Cajon Police Station. It's in the East County Regional Complex that houses the county courthouse, the Magnolia Theater, and the Civic Center for El Cajon. So this is a very busy area. There's also a hotel nearby. Everyone we talked to here are still, even hours later, shocked that this level of violence happened right in front of a police station. People who didn't want to go on camera say they didn't know what was going on, but heard several. One witness says about 20 gunshots. We talked to a woman who is staying in this hotel next door. Take a listen to what she had to say.
When I pulled up, all I saw was like cop cars and a few cars and people walking around. And I was just a little concerned on what was happening around here. It does surprise me a lot because you don't expect that from people. Like, you would expect a little more from people.
Again, this is a live look at the scene of the El Cajon Police Department. That is the suspect's vehicle still sitting here, riddled with bullets. Again, this is a very busy area with lots of businesses and government offices around here, so police know that there are a lot of witnesses. Police say that if you saw or know anything that could help in this investigation, please call the San Diego Police Department because they're taking lead of this investigation, which is protocol in officer-involved shootings like this. Reporting in El Cajon for CBS 8, I'm Kirsten Holmes. Back to you.
Thanks, Kirsten. And still a lot to be learned in this case, so stay with us for any updates on the story. We'll have the latest information posted on CBS8.com. You can also follow us on social media or download our free CBS 8 app.
Power is coming back on for people who were left in the dark for safety reasons during peak fire conditions. This is a look at SDG&E's outage map right now. The red pins are unplanned outages, a couple of those, and the blue pins represent the public safety power shutoffs, still 3 right there on the map. There are a whole lot less than there were just 24 hours ago. For educators in the backcountry, this is finally some good news.
With power being restored, class will be back in session. CBS 8's Steve Price visited Alpine, where students have had a few unexpected days off.
The Alpine Union School District serves around 1,500 students, but for a second day in a row, all 5 campuses in the district, including Joan McQueen Middle School, are closed. The problem, they have no power. Citing safety concerns, SDG&E shut off electricity to the entire community.
It's the middle of a school day, but campus is eerily quiet.
The impact is huge.
Dr. Richard Newman is Alpine Union's superintendent, and he is not big on closing schools. He knows the effect it has, and not just on students.
It impacts our students, obviously, the structure, the routine of being in school, our parents who have to go to work, and our staff waiting for what's next.
The power outage caught him by surprise because he was on the district's campuses early Tuesday morning, and it wasn't very windy.
There was no evident wind, so you know, I understand why they have to shut it off in the backcountry to protect the wires and ensure the prevention of fires, but we didn't feel the impact at all in Alpine.
Dr. Newman's misery had company. Other districts closed for a second day include Borrego Springs Unified, Dehesa, Hamul Desura Union, Julian Union Elementary and High School, Mountain Empire, Ramona Unified, Spencer Valley, Velocitos, and Warner Unified. Some of those districts have snow days built into their calendars so they can absorb the loss, but others, like Alpine Union, do not and may be forced to add days at the end of the year.
We're hopeful not. We'll file a waiver with the state, but as these become more and more predictable every year, we'll be focusing on building them into our schedule.
Of course, not everyone was sad for no school.
Braxton.
Especially first graders with a fun mom.
We went for a hike today.
Samantha Webster has lived in the backcountry most of her life and says this is just part of the charm.
We love it.
Right around noon in Alpine, the lights started coming back on. Power restored. Alpine Union expects to have classes Thursday, but it's not clear yet how many other districts will be as lucky. In Alpine, Steve Price, CBS 8.
Thanks, Steve. 2 firefighters are recovering after they were injured battling the Border 79 fire near Tecate yesterday. Today, CAL FIRE told us both are in stable condition. One of the firefighters has major injuries, the other has minor injuries. CAL FIRE says they were hurt by a boulder, but they haven't given us any more details. The fire burned 38 acres and is currently 70% contained. The cause is still under investigation.
CAL FIRE has launched a criminal investigation into a pair of fires that broke out in Ramona during the Santa Ana wind event. 2 small fires were reported, one overnight and into the morning, the other reported yesterday, both at the same place, at the Ramona Grassland Preserve. Firefighters call them suspicious because they broke out at the same time in roughly the same area over those 2 days. They're reminding people that even though the wind event is over, people should avoid doing any activities that could spark a fire. Firefighters are starting to make some progress against the Franklin fire still burning tonight up in Malibu.
Containment is now at 7%, but the fire continued to grow overnight and is now at just over 4,000 acres. Santa Ana winds have died down, but low humidity and dry conditions remain a threat. 6 structures have been destroyed, 9 damaged, and thousands of residents are still under evacuation orders.
Images that I was seeing was like the closest, most dangerous, craziest looking fire I ever saw in my life, and the smell and the smoke.
More than 1,500 firefighters are working that fire from the air and in the rough terrain on the ground. New numbers show inflation is on the rise again. Details still ahead.
Plus, we're working for your wallet, looking into the items you may want to consider buying ahead of possible Trump tariffs.
And the man authorities say faked his death and escaped to Europe is now in custody.
Now, we were still pretty dry today, even though the Santa Ana winds did calm down, but more humidity is in the forecast and also a chance for some light rain. All those details are coming up.